Hello! Comment ça va? Ça va très bien? Je suis Vito, professeur de français. Are you okay, guys? Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler de pronoms complément d'objet direct et pronoms complément d'objet indirect, COI et COD. Have you ever heard about that? The pronoun, the complement, object pronoun called COI et COD. So we're going to talk more about that in these videos. Let's move on. Of course, guys, I want you to pay attention with this one. All right? I don't want you to be frightened with the word, COD, COE. Now, okay, let's start in the beginning. Okay, I'm going to go slowly and I want you to pay attention as we move on step by step, and then you will understand where I'm going. Okay? Now, before we start, first of all, you have to understand that the basic structure of a phrase, how is it? In most all languages, we have what we call the subject, we have the verb, and we have the complement. Okay? Now, for example, mon ami mange la nourriture. Okay? Mon ami is the subject, mange is the verb, and la nourriture is the complement. All right? Now, if I now say, mon ami mange la nourriture. Mon ami la mange. You can see, now I've substituted the complement with a pronoun, okay? So basically, the COD and the COE, it's actually the pronoun that we are going to use to substitute a complement. Instead of repeating again the complement, so you are going to substitute that with a complement. So this is basically what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you an example. For instance, if you say, for example, if I ask you, are you going to eat this food? And then probably you're going to answer, say, yes, I will. Are you going to say, yes, I will probably eat this food? Okay, basically we don't respond, we don't repeat the whole phrases. We are just going to say, okay, yeah, sure, I will eat it, I will eat it. So you are just substituting the complement with the pronoun. So this is exactly what it's all about. But now we're going to now go slowly to understand what is the COD and what is the COE. Okay, now first of all, you need to know that all the phrases in French, okay, it has what they call the complément d'objet direct. So we have in a phrase which has the subject, the verbs, and the complement. Now, the complement can be either complément d'objet direct or complément d'objet indirect. So how are we going to identify if a phrase got a complément d'objet direct or a complément d'objet indirect? But before we go there, let us identify first the pronoun used to substitute the complement. Now look, for example, now for the COD, okay, we have these complement, it is used, okay, like we have for substituting a masculine word, we have la to substitute a feminine, and we have la to substitute a plural, okay? And then in the other side, we have lui and leur, okay? Those two is to substitute lui to substitute singular, both male and female, and leur is to substitute plural, both male and female. I know it can be looking confusing, especially if you're learning for the first time, but I just want you to stay stuck and remain concentrated. You are going to understand exactly where we are going. Now, guys, we're going now to identify the complément d'objet direct. So we're going to start with les compléments d'objet direct. Okay? Now look this phrase. If I say, mon ami prend les trains. Mon ami prend les trains ce matin. Now, my friend takes a train this morning. Okay? Now, what is the subject, my friend? The verbs. Takes, and we have the complement. Now, if I said, my friend takes what? So anytime when you want to respond, okay, you want to identify the COD, you need to ask the questions what. OK? Alors, je répète, on pose la question quoi ou qui, OK, pour identifier le complément d'objet direct. OK? On utilise qui ou quoi, la question qui et quoi, pour identifier les compléments d'objet direct. So in this case, mon ami prend quoi? My friend takes what? Okay, if we have to apply this method to find the COD. Okay? Mon ami prend quoi? Le train. Of course, you see, le train, it is masculine. Okay? So, if we have to substitute le train, we're gonna say, mon ami le prend. You see that? Mon ami le prend. Ma mère donne la clé. Ma mère donne la clé. So you can see la clé is the key, okay? It is feminine, okay? Ma mère donne la clé. Ma mère la donne, okay? Because I've substituted the complement with la. But what you have to understand that the COD, it always comes after the subject and before the verbs. Okay? Let me give you another example. If I said, Jean-Pierre chante une belle chanson. Jean-Pierre chante une belle chanson. Jean-Pierre chante quoi? Chante quoi? Ok? Chante une belle chanson. Jean-Pierre la chante. Because une belle chanson is feminine, all right? If you haven't watched about the articles, I'm gonna drop the link on the descriptions so you can learn about when we talk about the articles in French, okay? So, ma mère, Jean-Pierre, okay? So you're going to substitute Jean la chante, okay? It's very simple. Now let's go summarize again now for the COD. So we use the complement or the subject, the pronoun in the COD, in which case, do you remember? Yes, we need to ask the question what. Summarizing, what is the COD? First, to answer to the questions qui ou quoi, okay? And it is never introduced by a preposition, okay? It is basically called the direct verbs, okay? It doesn't need a preposition like a or de, okay, to form the verbs, all right? This example, le lapin mange la carotte. Le lapin mange quoi? La carotte. You see that? La carotte est au COD. We not say le lapin mange à quoi? Mange quoi? Okay? So we don't ask the question with a preposition after the verb. Le lapin mange quoi? Another example. Jean cherche sa sœur. Jean cherche sa sœur. Jean cherche qui? Ah, Jean cherche sa sœur. Okay? So we don't say cherche à qui, but we say cherche qui. Okay? So we ask the question directly from the verb without a preposition. Now, what is now a COE? Okay? The COE, complément d'objet indirect. Now, also summarizing here, okay, it is to answer to the questions à qui ou à quoi. Now we got a preposition. So we're going to ask questions which is connected to a preposition, okay? And the second, it is introduced by a preposition, okay? So to ask a question, we have to ask the questions connected with the prepositions. So let's go with an example here. Juliana parle à sa sœur. Juliana parle à qui? Ok, Juliana parle à sa sœur. And then if we have to substitute, remember the preposition, the article that will substitute the complement for the COI, it is lui. So it will be Juliana lui parle. Okay? Il téléphone à ses amis. Il téléphone à qui? Il téléphone à ses amis. Il leur téléphone. Okay, guys, you see that? Now it's plural. We substitute by leur. Very simple, isn't it? Now, guys, we have specific cases, okay? When we have a phrase that contains both le complément d'objet direct and le complément d'objet indirect. Yeah, exactly. So we got phrases where we can have the two complement in the same phrase. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. Ma mère donne la chaise à mon frère. You see that? Ma mère donne la chaise à mon frère. So this phrase contains both les COI et les COD. Okay? Ma mère donne quoi? La chaise. COD. Ma mère donne à qui? À mon frère. Okay? So we have both the complément d'objet direct and le complément d'objet indirect. And the same way, we are also going to substitute those complement with the articles that we have used to substitute. In this case, it's going to be ma mère la lui donne. You see that? Ma mère la lui donne. La is to substitute la chaise and lui is to substitute à mon frère. But now, what you need to know in this context, the COD, okay, the COD always comes first, okay? So when we have the two complements, so it is the COD that always comes. I mean, the complement, the articles used to substitute the COD comes first before the COI, okay? Ma mère la lui donne. Another example. Je donne ma voiture à mes amis. Je donne ma voiture à mes amis. Je donne quoi? Ma voiture, COD. À qui? À mes amis, COI. Okay? And then when I'm going to substitute, remember, I'm going to substitute starting by the COD and COI. So it's going to be je la leur donne. Okay? La to substitute ma voiture and leur to substitute à mes amis. Okay? Okay, guys, of course, it is, if you are learning that for the first time, okay, you need more time to acquire, okay? Because there's a big difference between learning something new and something difficult. This is basically, it is not difficult. What you got to do is to acquire, to do more exercises to acquire this, and so that it become fluent. It's going to be, it's going to be so flexible the way you're going to speak it, okay? Of course, if you got any questions or any something that's you don't understand, do not hesitate to drop your questions on the comment section, because remember, this subject is basically used to advance the student. Okay, now if you got any questions or you don't understand the structure of something, please do not hesitate to drop your questions on the comment section. Okay, I'm gonna respond to you as soon as possible. Okay, guys, now remember, you have to subscribe in this channel because we are going to be posting more videos to train these exercises. Okay, and do not forget to put your like button, okay, and you can click the notifications buttons as well. Okay, so we are going to do more exercises again to fix it, but for now, bye, and do not forget to ask your questions. Thank you.